Hello and welcome to our podcast on credit history and credit reports, what those mean and how to read them, and why they are so important for us as we move out of the protective shadow of our parents' lives and into our own life as a fully functioning grown-up citizen. So let's go ahead and see what we're talking about here. So first off, what exactly is a credit report? This is a record of an individual's personal credit history. This is sort of like a high school transcript for life. And what we mean is this. In high school, you're going to get a transcript of all the courses you've taken, of all the grades you've gotten, and of your cumulative or ending GPA. This record of how well you did in the past 4 years will help inform colleges whether they'd like you to attend their college, or maybe even first employers or first jobs. They might want to know how well did you do in high school in case they would like to hire you for this first job. A credit report is similar in that it is a record of all of the times that you have borrowed money throughout your life. Ideally then, it is also a great record of you paying that money back. So it also serves as an indicator of the applicant's ability to repay a future loan. So if you go to a bank and say, hello, I would like a loan for this new car, they're going to consult your credit report. They're going to look at it and say, hey, this kid has done a great job of borrowing money from various businesses and has paid them back. Therefore, we would like to extend the car loan to this person. On the flip side, if they find out that you have borrowed money and you have been late in making payments, or perhaps even delinquent, meaning you haven't made payments at all, then they will probably be less likely to offer you a loan for new money. A credit report is also an indicator of the applicant's character. Now, it doesn't really say on there, yes, Johnny is a good person, or Johnny is a bad person. But at the same time, it kind of does. If Johnny is paying back his loans and paying back his obligations, then it seems like Johnny is a good person. If Johnny is skipping payments, making late payments, or has stopped completely, then Johnny is probably going to be seen as a bad person. Now, I get it that there's more to a person than just their credit score, but the point is this gives an insight into somebody's life and whether or not a new business is going to loan them money. So why would we want a loan in the first place? Well, think about what we've talked about before. When we do get paid or we do have an income, we can do various things with that. We can save with that money. We can invest with that money. We can also obviously spend that money. And there are certain times where simply saving in a savings account is not going to grow that money fast enough for an item that we might need. And so oftentimes for big ticket items, very expensive things, it is better and more cost efficient to take out a loan than to simply save up money in a savings account. For example, if you'd like to buy a house, $200,000 or $300,000, it's probably going to take you forever to simply save for that house. At the same time, it would take you a long time to invest your money and grow it to the amount that you would need to buy the house. Therefore, a loan or a mortgage is probably going to be in your future if you'd like to buy a big ticket item like a house, a car, possibly go to college. Or, at the same time, this is also what a credit card is. You are, in effect, getting a loan for 1 month. So while we probably shouldn't be taking out loans in order to buy the latest movie on iTunes, we would probably take out a loan for a bigger ticket item. And this is where credit reporting comes in. So what exactly is on that credit report? It's going to be a detailed report of how much you have borrowed in the past, from whom you have borrowed, whether it's a bank or a department store or just a credit card or a car loan, and whether or not that loan or bills have been paid on time. The potential future lender is going to look at this report and determine if you are a good risk in order to give you a new loan. If you'd like to borrow money for a new car, they're going to see how you have paid back your previous loans on your other cars, perhaps on your home, or perhaps even if you've paid your credit card bills. So who compiles these credit reports? There are 3 different credit reporting agencies, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and they basically take your credit history, put it into some sort of algorithm, and they come up with a score. And so this is information that is reported to them by all of the companies who have lent you money. Every single time you borrow money, how you're paying that back or not paying that back gets reported to these 3 credit reporting agencies. And so they compile your credit score. So what exactly are lenders looking for when they are looking at your credit report, trying to determine if they should lend you more money? We talk about the 3 C's of credit. They are looking for your capacity, your character, and your collateral in determining whether they will or will not give you a future loan. So let's see what each of these is in a little bit more depth. The first C is capacity. These agencies are looking to see if you have the ability to repay this future debt. Basically, have you been working regularly in an occupation that is likely to give enough income that would allow you to use this line of credit? So they're going to look at things like your employment history. Have you been in this current job very long? How much money are you making in that current job? How reliable is that income? Meaning, do you have a salary or are you a seasonal employee? Meaning, maybe you work from October to November selling Christmas trees and then you're kind of done. Or are you somebody who is employed all year round? Do you have other sources of income? How many jobs do you have? How many other loan payments are you paying back at the same time? That kind of stuff. So they're looking at your capacity to take on a new loan. And if it seems like you are a good risk for them, meaning you have a steady income, you have a job that's not going to disappear tomorrow, you have a reasonable salary, meaning you're paid a certain amount of money, then they are more likely to say, yes, this person has a strong capacity to take on a future loan. The second C of the credit checking is that of character. They want to look at your honesty and reliability, and they try to gauge the likelihood of you paying back this new loan. So they're going to go to the credit report, and they're going to look and see, have you used credit before? Meaning, do you have other loans that are going on? A boat loan, a car loan, a home mortgage, credit cards. And then when you do have those other loans, do you pay them back on time? Or are you late? How late are you? Have you missed payments maybe once ever? Or is it every couple months you keep missing payments? Can you provide character references? Are there other people in the world who can say, yes, Johnny is a good person, he can take this debt on, and he will be able to pay it back? So this is something else that companies would look at if they're trying to figure out, should we loan Johnny more money? And that is character. And then the third C of the credit checking or the credit report is the idea of collateral. What are some assets that you own that could be sold off for you to get more money that would allow you to pay back this new loan if everything went horribly wrong? So for example, you're taking out money to buy a new car, and then all of a sudden that job that you thought you had that seems so stable disappears and you find yourself unemployed. Before they offer you that new car loan, the company might ask you, do you own anything else that in case you can't pay this loan back, that you could sell that item in order to pay us back for this new car loan? So perhaps jewelry, other real estate, a house, a watercraft, a ski-doo, something like that. Do you have savings accounts, checking accounts? Do you have stocks? Do you have anything else in your possession that if you can't pay back this car loan all of a sudden, that you could sell the collateral in order to pay back this loan? And if you do, that makes you a more attractive person that they might lend money to because you have collateral. So what exactly does this score look like? If you have strong capacity, if you have strong character, if you have strong collateral, and you've been doing your job, you've been borrowing some money, but you have always paid it back, what kind of score should you have? Well, the scores are going to range anywhere from 300 to 850. Obviously, the closer you are to 850, the better your credit score is, and the more likely you are to receive future loans from other companies. Like a high school transcript gives a future employer or a college a good indicator of how hard you worked in high school, and then they can decide, do we want them in our college or do we want them to have this first job? The credit report does something similar. If you've done a great job borrowing and paying back money, your credit score is going to be great, and they're more likely to loan you new money. But if you've had some rough patches, some shaky times, some bills that you haven't paid, then your score would be lower. And so if you go in asking for a new car loan, they are less likely to offer you new money because you become kind of a risk. Maybe you're not going to pay back this car loan. And so they look at that credit report and that credit score to determine if they're going to lend you new money. And so how do you get that good score? Well, look at your credit history. Every time that you take on new debt, you pay it back, and you pay it back on time. You do your best to not have any delinquencies, basically bills that have gone unpaid. So as a new person entering the world, what can you do to establish good credit? Number one, open up a checking or a savings account. That will start to add to your collateral. Lenders will look at that and go, hey, that person is responsible. They're taking some of their money and they're saving it. So that shows them that you are more likely to be able to pay back a loan. Number two, pay your bills on time. Don't apply for too many credit cards. Don't borrow more than you can pay back. And borrow only amount you need. So if you need to buy a home for $200,000, borrow $200,000. Don't borrow $250,000 saying, well, we're going to buy this house and instantly put on a new deck and a new sound system and a new roof. You might not be able to afford $250,000. So borrow what you need and stick with that. Make your payments, pay off your debt, do this over many years, and your credit score will stay good and will grow and get better. Definitely know how much you owe at all times. And if you do sense that there's going to be a problem, like all of a sudden you've taken on too much credit card debt around the holidays and you weren't really planning on that, contact those lenders immediately. See if you can work out a plan or a deal with them to say, hey, I might be a little bit late this time, but I'll be back on top of it next month. Additionally, develop good saving habits. So in case there is some sort of emergency, you don't have to start missing payments. That's going to keep your credit score high. Worst case scenario, if you ever lose or have your credit card stolen, make sure you report that right away. And definitely never give your credit card information over the phone to somebody unless you have initiated that call. It's too dicey out there. There's too many people trying to take advantage of the system that you get this phone call from some random stranger saying that they are from some company. And they're like, well, we just want to check your information. So could you give us your card? Most likely, they're trying to pull a scam. So unless you dial the number first and you know exactly who you are calling, you don't want to give that information out. And the reason is that if somebody gets a hold of your stolen card or your information, they could then use your stolen card to run up a whole bunch of charges that you don't want. And if they don't pay those back, it reflects on your credit score. The last thing we'd want to mention is how is the government involved in this economic process of credit reporting and credit scores? There is the Fair and Accurate Credit Transactions Act. So if it's an act, it has been created by Congress and signed into law. And basically this allows us as consumers to get a free copy of our credit report from each of the 3 reporting agencies annually. So every year you can call up those 3 different agencies and have them send you your most current report. And this is a good idea just to keep an eye on your number. It would be really horrible if you go in to borrow money for a new car, you have no idea what's going on with your credit score, and they say that your score has tanked out because somebody stole a number or stole a credit card or something like that. Your score is low, you can't borrow money, you can't get the car. So that's about it in terms of credit history and credit reports. They are exceptionally important. They will follow you forever, much longer in your life than your high school transcript will, and they are probably way more important. Your transcript can maybe help you get a job, maybe help you get into college, but your credit report can do all of that and a ton more, and they last a lot longer. So consider those 3 C's of credit. What kind of capacity do you have? What kind of character do you have? And what kind of collateral do you have? Those are all things that will show up on your credit report and will either work for you or against you in potentially borrowing future monies. Thanks so much for listening. As always, if you have any questions, please bring those into class. Otherwise, thanks, and we'll see you soon.